Hi everyone, this is Savanna, Wellness Coordinator with HealthTeam Advantage. Today we're going to be cooking a really healthy meal that you can implement during the holidays or just when you have a get-together. This is going to be an easy casserole that you can make as a side or to bring to a potluck. This is going to be a broccoli and cauliflower casserole, and we're going to use pretty simple ingredients here. So you can see in front of me, I actually don't have a ton of ingredients. This is really cheap and easy to make, and it will include half a head of broccoli, half a head of cauliflower, some breadcrumbs. You can use whole wheat if you want. I just have normal breadcrumbs right here. We're going to use a little bit of flour, so I do have whole wheat flour right here, but we won't be using a lot of that. I do have some Parmesan cheese right here, and then some milk. So that's really all you're going to need, and I'll go through the measurements as well as we're making this so that you can make this super quick and easy. Behind me, I have my oven preheating on 425. We are going to cut up our broccoli and our cauliflower, half a head of each of those, into about an inch in thickness there. And we're going to coat that in some olive oil. And we're going to actually roast that in our oven. So preheat your oven for 425, and I'll be right back with my cut up vegetables. All right, so I have my vegetables chopped up now. My cauliflower looks a lot like this. You can see that, so it's pretty small. And then my broccoli, about the same. We're going to toss this in a tablespoon of olive oil, and then we are going to put it on 2 baking trays for 20 to 25 minutes on 425 in the oven. We are going to stir those around about halfway through. We're just roasting our broccoli and our cauliflower at this point. I did keep part of the broccoli so that you could see what it looked like when I'm cutting around the florets. I'm just chopping around the stalk right here as close as I can get to these florets, and then they're just kind of coming apart like I want them to. So that's how you're going to chop both your cauliflower and your broccoli. I did end up using a whole head of cauliflower for this recipe. You need about 4 cups of both broccoli and cauliflower. So if you end up using the whole thing, that's fine. But just a general rule of thumb, if you get a bigger head like the broccoli, you're only going to use about half. So yeah, I'm going to put these in the oven, and then we're going to get started on making our onions. So we're actually going to dice some onion, and then we're going to make a roux with some flour here and some milk as well with that, which is kind of what's going to hold our casserole together. And I will show you all the process for making that roux. Okay, so I have 1 tablespoon of oil heating in this pan, and then I also have my thinly sliced onions. And when I say thinly sliced, I don't know if you can see how thin that is, but I did cut them up pretty thin. You're going to use 1 medium onion for this. So here I'm just going to add my onion. I'm going to keep stirring that until it's about golden brown, so about 5 to 8 minutes. And then I'm going to add in about 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm going to stir that around a little bit. And then I'll show you what else I add to it and how we create this roux. So we're actually going to add milk as well, but right now I'm just going to cook these onions down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my onion nice and brown here, and from here I'm just going to pop that off the heat for a second, and I'm going to put my 3 tablespoons of flour in here. So we're going to do 1. This measures out 2 tablespoons, so I'm going to do a half. That we want all-purpose flour here, a little bit more. And to make this roux, I'm going to put this back on the heat, turn down the heat a little bit, and I'm just going to stir this in with my onion for about a minute or so, and just get this pretty well coated and in the pan. So again, just making sure everything is coated. I'm just stirring this around for a second. Getting it pretty well incorporated here. And also, when I'm doing this, I'm going to add my salt. So this is to taste. Whatever seasonings you want to do, just add it to taste. So we have some salt, we have some pepper. And again, however much you want is totally fine. We're going to go in with some garlic powder. This is just personal preference. This is not required in the recipe. This is empty now. And some onion powder. All right. So we've got that, and I'm going to stir this around a bit. All right. So now that I've gotten all this incorporated, I'm going to add my 2.5 cups of milk. So we're going in with the first cup. And then we're going to go in with the next 1.5 cups. And from here, you're just going to stir this around until it starts to thicken up a little bit. It may take about 5 minutes or so, but it will thicken up due to the flour. And I'll be right back after this is all done. So we have our roux here, and I don't know if you can see that, but it is pretty dark. So this should just look like a thick gravy. It should be thick enough to kind of coat the back of a spoon, and that's how you know it's ready. So this is done, and that's going to be our sauce to kind of, again, hold everything together. And then I've got my roasted vegetables right here. So from here, I'm going to put this either in a casserole dish or just something that can hold this and be put in the oven, in the broiler. So anything that's broiler safe, I'm going to use this. And we're going to put half the amount of vegetables on the bottom with half the amount of sauce on top. Then we're going to put the other half of the vegetables on top of that, and then the other half of the sauce. From there, we're going to throw this in the broiler, and we'll be back right before I throw it in the broiler so that you can see what that looks like and the time for the broiler. So I have everything layered in my baking dish. I have the sauce, the veggies, and then I have about a cup of breadcrumbs on top that was mixed up with about a tablespoon of olive oil and then some Parmesan cheese on top. From here, we're gonna turn our broiler on, and you are gonna broil this in the oven for anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes, just depending on your broiler. After that, you're gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes before you eat it. But otherwise, this is a super quick and easy side dish that you can make if you're taking to a potluck or good for the holidays. So we're gonna stick this in the broiler for a second, and I will be back with the finished product. We're back with the finished product. This looks absolutely fantastic. And it is such like whole ingredients that you can feel good about eating this for the holidays. So yeah, this is done. This is probably my broiler for about 2 to 3 minutes, and it just got the top kind of toasty brown. I'm gonna angle it up so you can see that. Yeah, so this ended up being a really great recipe. This is something that is not gonna spike your blood sugar or make you feel guilty after eating it. So this is perfect for the holidays. Thanks for watching. See you next time.